Mark in Wimbledon. Mark, good evening.
Good evening. So my question is in relation to a bad mark on my credit file that has just appeared. In summary, I sold a flat in 2019, and by mistake, I carried on paying one of the direct debits for BT Broadband for about 3 years, and I realised in 2023 that it was for this flat that I'd sold a very long time ago, so I cancelled the direct debit. Earlier on this year, I then ended up with a credit chasing or debt chasing company chasing me to pay the remainder of the bill that was outstanding from the time I'd cancelled it. To be honest, because even though I realised it was no longer my bill anymore, I didn't own the flat anymore, I panicked a little bit because it was a credit debt chasing agency, so I paid the bill.
Mark, was this for standing charges or was it for use of the phone calls?
It was for broadband, but obviously there wasn't. My broadband wasn't. Well, I don't know what the new owners done there, but I was just
contract that you'd never cancelled.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess it was a contract that I'd never cancelled.
So go ahead. Yep.
Yeah. So just to sort of wind forward to right now, I've just in the process of looking at extending my mortgage on my house, and the bank have said, "Oh dear, there's a big black mark against your name." So I bought Equifax and Experian, and I found this BT bill for £124, which is down as a defaulted payment. And apparently that will now not allow me to do anything else to extend mortgages, to get a credit card or anything, just because of this one bill, even though I paid it. And obviously, even though it wasn't my bill, essentially it was for a property that I no longer owned.
Okay. Mark, can you move to the question?
Yeah, so I'm going around in circles at the moment trying to get BT to remove it from there, because obviously legally, it wasn't my property at the time when they were charging. I'm trying to get them to remove it, but I'm struggling a little bit trying to get to the right person.
Okay, so just to say, first of all, you've mentioned the name of the company a few times. Not your fault at all, but we're not meant to do that on air. Yeah. My producer probably asked you not to. But I just need to say that the organisation, the telephone provider, doesn't have the chance to respond to what you're saying, and it might have a different version of events.
Yeah.
So the telephone provider is in the position where it had a contract to supply broadband.
Yeah.
You hadn't cancelled that contract, and it continued charging as it was entitled to do.
Yeah.
Because if you don't cancel a contract for broadband, you remain liable to pay it.
Sure.
You then didn't pay the final bill in full. You just simply terminated the direct debit.
Yeah.
Meaning there was a legitimately owed debt by you to this company because you didn't pay the final bill.
Sure.
Presumably they sent chasers, which presumably never reached you because 3 or 4 years had elapsed since you moved.
Yeah.
Did you get the chasers by email?
I didn't get any chasers, no.
Okay,
the first I knew about it
was when
no.
They are entitled to put a mark against your credit rating if there is an unpaid and undisputed debt, because this is really an undisputed debt.
Sure.
I know you don't want the debt, but it's not really a disputed debt.
Sure.
And I think they're absolutely entitled to put that mark on your credit rating there, I'm afraid, Mark.
Right.
Now, if you explain this, if you can get hold of the right person and explain the situation to them, maybe they will remove it. Maybe.
Yeah.
But they're not legally obliged to. And I don't really have a huge amount of advice for you on how to get hold of the right person at this company.
All right.
I'm really sorry.